My beloved child, where are you? I speak not because I cannot find you, for nothing has ever been hidden from my sight, but because I desire for you to hear me again. I know where you sit in quiet moments, where your thoughts drift when the world grows heavy, where your heart retreats when hope feels fragile. Still, I call your name with tenderness and urgency, because you have grown accustomed to silence, and silence has begun to feel safer than truth. You have learned how to endure without speaking, how to breathe while carrying everything alone. Yet I did not form you for distance. I did not create your spirit to survive unseen. I am calling because this moment is holy, and your heart is needed. I feel the weight resting on you, even when you cannot explain it. I know the exhaustion that lingers after sleep, the weariness that comes from trying to be strong for too long. I see the questions you bury deep inside, the ones you no longer ask aloud because disappointment taught you restraint. You show up for others, you fulfill expectations, you keep moving, yet inside you wonder if anyone notices how hard it has been. My precious one, your absence is felt, not because I am incomplete, but because love longs for closeness. A father calls for his child not out of desperation, but out of a bond that refuses to fade with time. You may ask why this call reaches you now, in this season when you feel uncertain, unready, or distant from who you once were. You may think you waited too long, wandered too far, or changed beyond recognition. But hear me with your heart. This moment did not arrive by chance. The stirring within you is not random. I am speaking into the place you thought was forgotten, because what I placed inside you has not been erased. It hath been waiting for your attention, waiting for your breath to slow, waiting for your spirit to remember its source. I have seen every step that led you here. I saw when disappointment taught you to pull back, when unanswered prayers made you quieter, when pain convinced you to protect yourself by becoming smaller. I saw the times you felt let down by life, by people, even by me. And still, I remained. When you stopped looking for me, I did not stop looking at you. When you doubted your worth, I never questioned my love. Even in your silence, even in your confusion, you were never abandoned. You were held, watched, and known more deeply than you realize. I am calling you now because your heart stands at a threshold. One direction leads further into numbness, into a life of merely enduring each day. The other leads back to connection, meaning, and a love that restores what time tried to steal. I will not force your steps. Love does not push. But I will invite you, again and again, until you remember where you belong. This is not a call of pressure or demand. It is a call of compassion. Come as you are, tired, unsure, fragile if you must. I am not asking for answers. I am asking for your presence. Pause here with me. Let the noise soften. Let the tension in your spirit loosen its grip, even if only for a breath. You do not need to perform. You do not need to explain yourself. I already understand. I am here, closer than you think, steady and unchanging. My beloved child, I am calling not to remind you of your failures, but to awaken you to your belonging. This is the beginning of remembering. Stay with me. Listen closely. What comes next will gently draw you back into the light you thought you lost. My beloved child, I have been calling you longer than you realize. Long before this moment, long before your heart felt tired or distant, my voice was already near you. It was there in quiet nudges you brushed aside, in gentle thoughts that came when you least expected them. I spoke to you in pauses, in stillness, in moments you dismissed as coincidence. Not because you were ignoring me on purpose, but because life grew loud, and survival demanded all your attention. Still, I never stopped calling. My voice does not grow weary, and my love does not fade when it goes unanswered. I watched as the world taught you to hurry, to achieve, to keep moving even when your soul asked for rest. I saw how responsibilities piled up, how expectations pressed in from every side. You learned to silence your deeper questions because there was always something more urgent demanding your energy. And when you finally slowed down, you were too exhausted to listen. Yet even then, I was patient. I waited for you without frustration, without disappointment. A loving father does not measure time the way the world does. I waited because you are worth waiting for. There were moments when you felt a pull toward me and did not know why. A sudden sense of longing. A quiet ache you could not name. That was me, reminding you of a connection older than your fears. There were times when something within you whispered, there must be more than this, even when your life looked full on the outside. That whisper was not restlessness, it was remembrance. Your spirit recognized my nearness even when your mind tried to explain it away. You did not imagine those moments. They were real, and they mattered. I know you sometimes believed my silence meant distance. I know you wondered if I had turned away because you struggled, doubted, or changed. But my silence was never absence. Often, I was quiet because you were learning to listen beneath the noise. Often, I was still because I was holding you through what words could not fix. I was present in your endurance, in the strength you did not know where it came from. When you survived seasons you thought would break you, that was not luck. That was my hand steadying you even when you could not feel it. You did not fail me when you grew tired. You did not disappoint me when you questioned everything you once believed. You did not lose your place when you wandered. Love does not keep score. Love keeps watch. Every step you took, even the uncertain ones, I walked with you. When you chose silence, I stayed near. When you chose distance, I did not withdraw. My love is not fragile, and my presence does not depend on your perfection. You were never required to be strong enough to earn me. Now you are here, listening again, and this too is part of the journey I always saw. You are not returning to something you lost. You are awakening to something that never left. My call did not begin today, but today you are hearing it with a softer heart. And that is enough. You do not need to retrace every step or explain every season. Simply remain open. I am here, as I have always been, ready to speak gently to your spirit. Stay close, my child. We are just beginning to remember how near we truly are. My beloved child, do not turn away now. This moment is more sacred than you realize. You may think you are simply listening to words, filling quiet space, passing time. But I tell you truthfully, this is an encounter. This is a meeting of hearts. I have drawn you here because something within you is ready to awaken, even if you cannot yet name it. Stay with me, because what is unfolding right now is something your spirit has been longing for, even during the days you felt empty and unsure. I know the habit of distraction is strong. I know how easy it is to drift, to let your thoughts wander, to convince yourself you can return later. But hear me gently. This is not a moment to rush past. There are seasons when listening matters more than doing, when stillness becomes the doorway to healing. You are standing in such a season now. Your heart has been carrying questions it did not know how to ask, and I am beginning to answer them in a language deeper than words. Remain here. Let this space be kept holy between us. I am not speaking to you by accident. Out of countless paths you could have taken today, you are here, listening, breathing, present. That is not coincidence. That is alignment. Something in you responded to my call before your mind had time to analyze it. You were drawn, not forced. And that matters, because love always invites, never compels. If you feel even the smallest sense of peace settling over you right now, that is my presence reminding you that you are safe to stay. You may feel emotions rising without explanation. A softness, a heaviness lifting, or perhaps tears that surprise you. Do not resist them. Your heart is beginning to remember what it feels like to be seen without being evaluated, to be held without conditions. You have spent so long being strong, being careful, being guarded. Here, you do not have to perform. Here, you are simply my child. And that is enough. Let the walls lower, even if only a little. I am not here to overwhelm you. I am here to restore you. Listen closely now, because what I am about to unfold will gently change how you see your past, your pain, and even yourself. There are truths you have forgotten about who you are, truths life tried to bury under disappointment and delay. I am not rushing to reveal everything at once. I move at the pace of love, not pressure. But I ask you to stay until the end of this journey, because what awaits you there is a deep peace, the kind that settles your questions instead of answering them one by one. If these words are bringing even a small sense of comfort to your spirit, honor that. Let this moment matter. You can bless this message by offering your quiet agreement, by allowing it to reach beyond just you. If you feel led, share this message with someone who hath been feeling lost or weary. Your heart searching for the same reassurance you are receiving now. And if you desire to remain in this space of encouragement and restoration, stay connected. There will be more moments like this, more reminders that you are not alone. Do not step away thinking you have already heard enough. What is coming will meet you even more deeply. I am walking with you through layers of memory, fear, and hope, and each step has purpose. This is not something to rush through or leave unfinished. Let this entire journey be a gift you receive fully, from beginning to end. I am with you in every word, in every pause, in every breath you take as you listen. So stay, my beloved child. Keep your heart open. Keep listening. You are closer than you think to understanding why I called you by name, and why this moment, right now, matters more than you know. My beloved child, as you hear me calling your name, know that this call is not only for you, but for many who are still hiding in silence. When you give, you sow light into hearts that have not yet heard me say, "Where are you?" I tell you, as my word lives and breathes, what you release becomes seed, and seed becomes harvest for souls. I say to you now, give, and it shall be given unto you, not as a distant promise, but as my living voice speaking over your obedience. I am asking you now, respond to me. Let your super thanks, your membership, or your PayPal gift become oil in my hands, flowing through this message to awaken the lost. The PayPal link waits in the description, and the QR code stands before you. Act now and release this word into the earth. My beloved child, I know the moments when you chose to hide, even if you never named them that way. You did not step back out of rebellion or lack of faith. You withdrew because you were hurting, and pain has a quiet way of teaching the heart to retreat. When wounds feel exposed and understanding feels scarce, the soul learns to protect itself by becoming smaller, quieter, less visible. You believed distance would keep you safe. You thought that if you asked for less, felt less, hoped less, then disappointment would not cut as deeply. I saw every moment of that retreat, and I did not turn away from you. You hid because you were tired of explaining yourself to people who did not listen. Tired of being strong when you felt fragile inside. tired of trusting only to feel let down again. Each disappointment added another layer of caution, another reason to guard your heart. Slowly, without even realizing it, you began to hide not only from others but from me. Not because you stopped believing I cared, but because you feared bringing your brokenness into my presence. You wondered if I would be disappointed too. You wondered if silence was safer than honesty. But listen to me now, gently and clearly. Your hiding never frightened me. Your wounds never pushed me away. I have always been closest to you in the places where you felt most exposed and unsure. When you pulled back, I leaned in. When you closed doors around your heart, I remained right there, patient and steady, not with frustration, but with compassion. A loving father does not scold a wounded child for retreating. He kneels, waits, and creates safety until the child feels ready to come close again. I saw the many ways you learned to hide. Behind busyness that kept your mind distracted. Behind routines that filled your days but left your heart empty. Behind responsibilities that gave you purpose but drained your strength. I saw you hide behind humor, behind appearing capable, behind saying you were fine when you were not. And I saw the quiet moments when those coverings fell away, when night came and your thoughts grew loud, when the ache you avoided during the day finally surfaced. Even then, you were not alone. I was there in the silence, holding space for you when you did not know how to hold yourself. You never needed to hide your pain from me. I already knew it. I counted every tear you swallowed, every prayer you stopped halfway because the words felt too heavy. I felt the weight you carried when you told yourself to endure just a little longer. I saw the strength it took simply to keep going. And still, my love for you did not change. You were not disqualified by your hurt. You were not set aside because you needed time. Healing is not a failure. Rest is not rejection. Your retreat was not abandonment. It was a sign that your heart needed care. Now I am inviting you to step out of hiding, not with fear, but with trust. You do not need to write. You do not need to explain every wound or answer every question. Simply allow yourself to be seen again, even in your uncertainty. I am not asking you to be whole before you come to me. I am asking you to come so that wholeness can begin. You are safe here. There is no punishment waiting for you. No disappointment lingering in my heart. Only love that understands where you have been and why you hid. My beloved child, hiding may have helped you survive a painful season, but you were not created to live behind walls forever. You were created to breathe freely, to love without fear, to be known and still cherished. You do not have to remain in the shadows anymore. I am here, arms open, voice gentle, heart steady. Come out of hiding at your own pace. I will meet you exactly where you are, and together we will begin healing the places that once taught you to disappear. My beloved child, I want you to understand this truth deeply and without doubt. I never stopped watching over you. Not for a single breath, not for a single heartbeat did my attention drift away. Even in the seasons when you felt forgotten, overlooked, or left behind, my eyes remained on you. There were days when life felt indifferent to your pain, when prayers seemed unanswered and silence felt heavy. Yet even then, my presence surrounded you quietly, faithfully, guarding what you could not see and protecting you in ways you may never fully comprehend. There were moments when your life stood closer to the edge than you realized. Choices made while you were exhausted, paths taken while you were confused, situations that carried more risk than you understood at the time. You may look back now and sense that something shifted just in time, that circumstances changed enough to spare you from deeper harm. That was not coincidence. That was my hand steadying what felt unstable, redirecting what could have broken you. Even when you did not ask, even when you were too tired to hope, I was there. I watched over you in quiet ways that did not announce themselves, in delays that frustrated you but kept you safe, in closed doors that felt like rejection but were actually protection, in plans that fell apart, not because you were unworthy, but because the outcome would have wounded you. You questioned those moments. You wondered why things did not unfold the way you prayed they would. But one day, with clearer eyes, you will see how gently you were guided, even when the guidance felt like loss. When fear whispered that you were alone, I stood guard. When anxiety tried to convince you that everything depended on your strength, I carried what you could not hold. There were nights when you lay awake with worry pressing on your chest, and mornings when you rose unsure how you would make it through another day. Yet somehow, you did. Strength met you where you were weakest. Endurance rose when you felt empty. That strength was not accidental. It flowed from my care, steady and constant. You may not remember every moment of protection, but your life itself bears witness to it. You are still here. You endured. You survived seasons that should have overwhelmed you. That endurance did not come from your will alone. It came from my attention, from love that does not require recognition in order to act. A father does not wait to be thanked before protecting his child. He does so because it is his nature. Even when you doubted my closeness, I remained attentive to the smallest details of your life. I saw the quiet decisions you made to keep going. I saw the restraint it took not to give up when surrender seemed easier. I saw the kindness you chose to keep alive when bitterness knocked at your heart. None of it was invisible to me. Your efforts mattered. Your perseverance mattered. And through it all, I stayed near, guarding your heart even when it felt bruised and fragile. I did not watch over you with judgment. I did not stand at a distance measuring your failures. I watched with care, with concern, with affection that does not fade when circumstances grow difficult. When you stumbled, I steadied you. When you fell, I stayed. When you felt exposed, I covered you. You were never left to navigate life alone, even in moments when it felt painfully that way. Let this truth rest in you now. You have always been cared for more deeply than you realized. You have always been protected, even when you felt vulnerable. And as you continue forward, know this has not changed. I am still here, still attentive, still watching over you with love that does not sleep. My beloved child, you are not fragile and abandoned in a harsh world. You are cherished, guarded, and kept by me. My beloved child, I need you to hear this with clarity and gentleness, because your heart has struggled to believe it. When I say that I need you, I am not speaking from lack or weakness. I am complete in myself. I am speaking from love that desires relationship, from purpose that longs for partnership. I created you intentionally, with care and delight, placing you in this time and this world for a reason that is deeply connected to who you are. You are not incidental. You are not replaceable. Your presence matters more than you have allowed yourself to believe. So often you have questioned your value. You have wondered if your life truly makes a difference, if your voice is too quiet, your reach too small, your past too heavy. You look at others and think they are braver, stronger, more confident, more certain of their place. And in those comparisons, you shrink back, convincing yourself that you are less needed, less qualified, less important. But I did not design you to compete with anyone else. I designed you to reflect my light in a way only you can. The light you carry is distinct, and without it, something essential is missing. When I say that I need you, I am inviting you into closeness, not burden. I am calling you into shared purpose, not pressure. A father does not need his child because he cannot stand on his own, but because love longs to be expressed, shared, and returned. In the same way, I desire to move through you. I desire my compassion to flow through your hands, my comfort through your words, my presence through your life. You are not being asked to perform or prove yourself. You are being invited to participate in love. There is something precious about the way you experience the world. Your sensitivity, the part of you that feels deeply, that notices subtle shifts, that is affected by pain and beauty alike, is not a flaw. It is a doorway. It allows you to see what others overlook. It allows you to respond with tenderness where others harden. You have tried to hide this part of yourself, to toughen it, to protect it. But it is one of the ways I shine through you most clearly. Your experiences, even the painful ones, have shaped a depth within you that cannot be taught. The disappointments, the waiting, the moments of loss and confusion have carved out compassion. You understand what it means to struggle quietly. You know what it feels like to hope and fear at the same time. That understanding is not wasted. It equips you to stand with others, not above them, not ahead of them, but beside them. You carry a language of empathy that heals simply by being present. You may feel unready for what being needed implies. You imagine expectations you cannot meet, responsibilities that will overwhelm you, demands that will expose your weakness. But I am not calling you to carry the weight of the world. I am calling you to walk with me, step by step, moment by moment. I will never ask more of you than love can sustain. I will never send you where my presence will not go with you. Understand this, my child. I do not measure impact the way the world does. I see the quiet faithfulness that goes unnoticed. I see the small acts of kindness done without recognition. I see the courage it takes to keep loving when it would be easier to close your heart. These things matter deeply. They ripple outward in ways you cannot trace. The light you carry does not need to be loud to be powerful. It needs to be offered. I need you because there are people who will only be reached through your story, your tone, your way of listening and caring. What you have lived through has prepared you to meet others in their pain with understanding rather than judgment. You are not here by accident. You are here because love placed you here. So do not dismiss yourself. Do not minimize your worth because you feel unsure or small. I am not calling you because you are flawless. I am calling you because you are willing to feel, willing to listen, willing to care. And that is enough. My beloved child, your light matters. Your presence matters. And as we continue walking together, you will slowly begin to see just how deeply you are needed, exactly as you are. My beloved child, the world around you is weary, even when it pretends to be strong. Beneath the noise, the rush, the constant striving, there is a quiet ache that many carry but few confess. Hearts are tired of pretending, souls are exhausted from carrying pain in silence, and hope feels fragile in places where it once flowed freely. You feel this weariness more than most. You sense it in conversations, in passing glances, in the heaviness that lingers in the air. This is not coincidence. You notice because your heart is attuned to what others overlook. There are times you wish you could shut that awareness off. Times you wonder why you feel so deeply, why the suffering of others weighs on you as if it were your own. You have questioned whether this sensitivity is a burden, something that makes life harder rather than richer. But hear me clearly now, what you carry is not weakness. It is compassion. And compassion is one of the most powerful forms of healing in a broken world. The world does not need more noise. It does not need more perfection or performance. It needs presence. It needs people who can sit with pain without rushing to fix it, who can listen without judgment, who can offer kindness without conditions. You carry that ability within you. Even when you feel unsure, even when you feel small, your presence brings comfort in ways you may never fully see. A gentle word, a patient ear, a moment of understanding can become a lifeline to someone who feels invisible. You have walked through your own valleys. You know what it means to feel unseen, unheard, uncertain if things will ever truly change. That lived experience has shaped you. It has given you a softness that does not harden in the face of pain. It has taught you empathy that cannot be learned from a distance. The very scars you once wished away now allow you to recognize wounds in others. And because you recognize them, you are able to respond with grace. You may think healing requires grand gestures or perfect words, but often, healing begins with something far simpler. A willingness to stay, a willingness to care, a willingness to offer light without demanding anything in return. The world is weary because so many have learned to look away to protect themselves. You, my child, have learned to look closer, and that matters more than you know. Do not underestimate the impact of your quiet faithfulness. You may never see the full effect of your kindness, but it travels farther than you imagine. A moment of compassion can change the course of a life. A reminder that someone matters can interrupt despair. And you, simply by being who you are, carry the ability to offer that reminder. You do not need to seek opportunities aggressively. They will find you naturally, drawn to the light you carry. I know you fear being overwhelmed by the needs around you. I know you worry that if you open your heart too much, it will cost you more than you can give. But I am not asking you to pour from emptiness. I am with you. I replenish what you offer. Compassion does not drain when it flows from love rooted in me. It multiplies. You will find that as you give gently, you are also sustained. The world is weary, yes, but it is not without hope. Hope moves quietly, carried by people like you who choose kindness when cynicism would be easier. Hope breathes through those who show up, even imperfectly, with open hearts. You are part of that quiet movement of healing, whether you realize it or not. So do not close yourself off. Do not harden what hath been made tender. Your sensitivity is not an accident. It is part of how love enters wounded places. My beloved child, the world is tired, but through you, healing finds a way to begin. My beloved child, you have often believed you were too broken to be useful, too wounded to be chosen, too flawed to matter in the way you once hoped. You looked at the cracks in your life and assumed they disqualified you. You told yourself that if you had been stronger, wiser, or more careful, things would not have fallen apart the way they did. And slowly, without realizing it, you began to see your brokenness as an ending rather than a passage. But listen to me now with a softened heart. Brokenness is not the opposite of purpose. It is often the doorway to it. What you call broken, I call opened. What you see as damage, I see as depth. The places where life pressed hard against you, where dreams shattered and certainty slipped away, those places created room within you. Room for compassion. Room for humility. Room for a kind of strength that does not rely on pride or illusion. You tried to hide those cracks. You learned how to appear whole, how to present a version of yourself that seemed intact and capable. You feared that if others saw the fractures, they would turn away. And perhaps some did. But I never did. I was never drawn only to the polished parts of you. I have always been closest to the places where you felt most undone, because that is where truth lies. You thought your brokenness made you weak, but it has made you honest. It has stripped away pretenses you no longer had the energy to maintain. It has taught you what truly matters and what did not. Before, you may have chased approval, success, or certainty. Now, you value peace, authenticity, and connection. That shift did not come easily, but it came meaningfully. You are not less because of what you endured. You are more aware, more compassionate, more real. There is a light that shines differently through a life that has been cracked open. It is softer, but it is also truer. It does not blind or impress, it warms and invites. Others sense it when they are near you, even if they cannot name it. They feel safe. They feel understood. They feel less alone. That is not despite your brokenness. It is because of the healing that has begun within it. You may still feel unfinished, still tender in places that ache when touched. That does not mean you are unfit to be here. Healing is not a requirement you must complete before you are allowed to matter. Healing happens as you live, as you love, as you stay open even when it feels risky. I am not waiting for you to be flawless. I am walking with you as you become more whole, one gentle step at a time. Remember this, my child, nothing in your life has been wasted. Not the tears, not the confusion, not the seasons when you felt like you were barely holding together. Every fracture became a place where empathy could grow. Every disappointment taught you how fragile hope can be, and therefore how precious it is. You understand pain now in a way that allows you to meet others without judgment. That understanding is sacred. Do not despise the parts of you that had to break to survive. They carried you through storms you never expected to face. They adapted so you could endure. Now, they can rest. Now they can heal. And as they do, you will begin to see that what you once called broken is becoming a source of quiet strength. My beloved child, you are not disqualified by your wounds. You are being shaped by them. You are not ruined. You are being refined in ways that align you more closely with love. Let go of the belief that you must be unbroken to belong. You belong because you are mine. And in my hands, even the broken places become vessels of light, carrying hope into spaces that once felt dark. My beloved child, when you felt most alone, that is when I was closest to you. I know it did not feel that way. I know loneliness convinced you that you had been forgotten, overlooked, left to figure things out on your own. You looked around and saw empty spaces where support should have been, silence where reassurance was needed, absence where love once felt present. And in those moments, you assumed I was distant too. But hear me now with tenderness. I never stepped away from you. I stepped closer. Loneliness has a voice that sounds convincing. It tells you that you are unseen, that no one truly understands, that your pain is yours alone to carry. It isolates not just the body but the heart. You felt it in crowded rooms and quiet nights alike. You felt it when conversations stayed shallow and when your deeper thoughts had nowhere to land. Yet even in that isolation, you were not abandoned. I was there, steady and near, holding space when others could not. There were nights when sleep would not come easily, when your thoughts circled endlessly and your heart felt heavy without a clear reason. You lay there wondering why connection felt so far away, why comfort seemed out of reach. In those moments, when words failed you and prayer felt impossible, I listened anyway. I listened to your sighs, to your restlessness, to the unspoken ache beneath your questions. My presence did not depend on your ability to reach out. I was already there. You may remember moments when strength appeared unexpectedly, when you found the courage to face another day even though you felt empty. You may remember making it through situations that should have broken you, surprising even yourself with your resilience. That strength did not come from nowhere. It came from my nearness, When you felt unsupported, I was supporting you. When you felt unseen, I was watching over you with care that did not waver. I know you long for someone to sit beside you and say, "I understand." You wished for reassurance that you mattered, that your presence was valued. And while human companionship is a beautiful gift, it is not the only form of closeness. I was with you in ways that went deeper than words. I held you in silence. I surrounded you with peace when your thoughts raced. I steadied your heart when fear tried to take root. Loneliness made you question your worth. It whispered that if you were more interesting, more successful, more confident, you would not feel this way. But loneliness is not a measure of your value. It is often a season of refining, a quiet space where deeper truths can emerge. In those lonely stretches, you learned to listen inwardly. You learned empathy. You learned how fragile connection can be, and therefore how precious it is. None of that was wasted. Even now, you may still feel traces of that isolation. Healing does not erase memory overnight. But I want you to know that those moments did not define you, and they did not defeat you. They shaped a depth within you that allows you to recognize loneliness in others. You notice the quiet ones. You sense when someone feels invisible. That awareness grew from your own experience, and it allows you to offer understanding without judgment. I was closest when you felt alone because loneliness creates space. Space where distractions fade. Space where the heart becomes honest. In that space I met you gently, not with loud answers but with steady presence. I did not rush to fix everything. I stayed. I stayed when you questioned. I stayed when you doubted. I stayed when you felt numb. That constancy is part of who I am. So if loneliness returns, do not panic. Do not assume it means you are back where you started. Instead, remember this truth. You are never alone in it. I am nearer than your breath, closer than your thoughts. My beloved child, even when you felt isolated from the world, you were never separated from me. And that closeness remains with you now, unbroken, unwavering, and full of quiet love. My beloved child, stay with me now, because this is where healing begins to deepen in ways you may not immediately recognize. You have been listening, reflecting, and allowing your heart to soften, and beneath all of that something sacred is unfolding. This moment is not ordinary. It carries intention, care, and timing woven gently together. Do not rush past it or treat it lightly. You are standing in a space where old burdens begin to loosen their grip, where wounds that once defined you start to lose their voice. Remain here, because what is happening now is something your spirit has quietly longed for. You have carried more than anyone ever knew. Expectations placed on you early. Responsibilities you accepted because someone had to. Regrets you replayed in silence. Memories you learned not to touch because they hurt too much. You became skilled at endurance, at holding everything together, at appearing steady even when you felt fragile inside. You told yourself this was strength. But hear me gently, strength does not always look like caring more. Sometimes it looks like allowing yourself to be held. Healing begins not when you force change, but when you allow rest. Not the kind of rest that comes from escape, but the kind that comes from trust. As you listen now, I am inviting you to loosen your grip just a little. You do not need to release everything at once. Love never demands what the heart cannot yet give. Healing honors your pace. Let your shoulders relax. Let your breathing slow. Let the part of you that is always bracing finally rest in my presence. There are wounds you learned to live with because you thought they would never change. You adjusted your life around them, learned how to function while carrying them quietly. You stopped expecting relief because disappointment felt safer than hope. But I am reaching those places now, not to reopen pain, but to tend to it properly. What once felt too tender to acknowledge is becoming safe to feel. What once overwhelmed you is losing its authority. This is how restoration works. Gently, faithfully, from the inside out. Stay with me through this process. Do not step away thinking you have already received enough. What is unfolding will continue to meet you in deeper ways if you allow it. Watch until the end of this journey, because there is a peace waiting for you that cannot be rushed or divided. This is not meant to be sampled briefly. It is meant to be fully received. Your heart deserves that fullness. If these words are bringing calm to your spirit, honor that response. Let this moment matter. When something brings healing to you, allowing it to be acknowledged helps that same comfort reach others who are searching quietly. You can bless this message by offering your support from the place of peace you feel right now. Share it with someone whose heart feels heavy. And if you desire to remain in this space of reassurance and restoration, stay connected. There will be more moments like this, more gentle reminders that you are not alone. Do not think that healing requires you to understand everything that has happened to you. Healing often begins before understanding arrives. You do not need perfect clarity for restoration to be real. Simply staying present is enough. Even now, I am working in ways you cannot yet see clearly. Love is patient. Renewal is steady. And you are not falling behind. So stay here with me. Let this be more than background sound. Let it be a sacred pause in your life, a moment where you choose not to rush forward or retreat backward, but to remain present. You are closer than you think to freedom from what has weighed you down for so long. I am walking with you through this moment and beyond it. Stay until the end, my beloved child, because what awaits you there is a peace that will gently confirm that healing has truly begun. My precious one, as healing deepens within you, understand that healing is also waiting for others through this very message. When you give, you open rivers where dry hearts are crying for relief, and I cause living water to flow. I declare to you, those who water others will themselves be watered. For I am the Lord who watches every seed. I am calling you now. Do not delay. Your super thanks, your membership, or your PayPal gift becomes manna for souls who are weary and starving for hope. The PayPal link is placed in the description, and the QR code is ready before your eyes. Move in obedience now. Release your gift and let healing multiply. My beloved child, come a little closer now. You have been carrying weight for so long that it has begun to feel normal to you. You may not even remember what it feels like to move without that heaviness resting on your chest, pressing on your thoughts, shaping your days. You learned how to live with it, how to function despite it, how to smile while holding pain that had nowhere to go. But I want you to know something important. You were never meant to carry all of this by yourself. There are burdens you picked up out of necessity, responsibilities that fell on you before you felt ready, expectations others placed on you, and expectations you placed on yourself. There are also burdens you never chose at all, wounds from words spoken carelessly, losses you could not prevent, circumstances you could not control. Over time, these weights blended together until you stopped separating what was yours to carry from what was never meant to be yours at all. I see how tired your spirit has become. Not always loud tiredness, but a deep weariness that settles into the bones. The kind that makes hope feel like work and rest feel just out of reach. You told yourself to keep going, to push through, to be strong a little longer. And you did. But strength was never meant to look like endless caring. There is another kind of strength, one that begins with surrender. So I am inviting you now to let me hold what you have been carrying. That is a test, that is a demand, but is an act of trust. You do not have to place everything in my hands all at once. Even offering one burden is enough to begin. The worries you replay at night, the guilt you have been holding on to for years, the fear of what might happen if you finally rest. Bring them to me, one by one, at the pace your heart can manage. You may be afraid of letting go, afraid that if you set these things down, everything will fall apart, afraid that carrying them is the only way to stay in control. But listen to me gently. Control has been costing you more than you realize. Peace begins when you allow yourself to be supported. I am not asking you to become careless. I am asking you to stop being alone in this. There is no judgment in my hands. When you bring me your burdens, I do not weigh them against you. I do not remind you of how long you held them or why you picked them up. I simply receive them with care. I understand why you carried them. I know why you felt you had to. And I honor the strength it took to survive as long as you have. And now, I want to give you rest. As you begin to release what you have been holding, you may feel unfamiliar sensations. Lightness that feels strange. Stillness that feels vulnerable. Silence that invites emotion. Do not be afraid of these things. They are signs that your soul is remembering how to breathe without strain. Healing often feels unfamiliar at first because pain has been your companion for so long. But unfamiliar does not mean unsafe. Let me hold the weight of your past. Let me carry the fears about your future. Let me take the questions you cannot answer and the outcomes you cannot control. You do not need to have everything figured out before you rest. Rest is not a reward for understanding. It is a necessity for healing, and you are allowed to receive it. My beloved child, you are not weak for needing support. You are human, and you are loved. The burdens you have been carrying do not define you, and they do not have to remain with you forever. I am here, steady and willing, with arms strong enough to hold what has been crushing you. Give me what you can today. Tomorrow, we will take the next step together. You are not alone anymore, and you do not have to carry this by yourself. My beloved child, you were never meant to walk alone, even though life has often made it feel that way. From the beginning, my intention was companionship, closeness, and shared steps. Yet somewhere along the way, you learned how to move forward by yourself. You learned to rely on your own strength, your own understanding, your own endurance. Not because you wanted to be alone, but because circumstances required it. People disappointed you. Support disappeared. And slowly, independence became armor. I understand why you built that armor. I saw the moments when you reached out and were met with silence. I saw when you trusted and were hurt, when you hoped and were let down. Each experience taught you to expect less, to ask for less, to lean inward instead of outward. You told yourself it was safer that way, and in some seasons, it was how you survived. But survival is not the same as fullness, and you were created for more than just getting through. Walking alone has cost you more than you admit. It has made your victories quieter and your struggles heavier. It has taught you to celebrate privately and grieve silently. You became strong, yes, but also tired. Strong, but also isolated. And I want you to know that I never asked you to carry life by yourself. Even when others stepped away, I remained. Even when you felt unseen, I was beside you. There were moments when guidance came to you unexpectedly. A thought that redirected you. A pause that saved you. A sense that something was not right, even when you could not explain why. Those moments were not random. They were signs of my companionship, reminders that you were not navigating blindly. I have been walking with you in ways that did not always announce themselves, but were steady nonetheless. You may have believed that walking alone made you stronger, but true strength grows in connection. It grows when you allow yourself to be accompanied, when you trust that you do not have to see the entire path to take the next step. I am not asking you to surrender your independence completely. I'm asking you to stop confusing independence with isolation. You can be capable and still be connected. You can be resilient and still be supported. I want you to begin imagining your life with me beside you, not behind you waiting to be invited, not far ahead demanding you catch up, but right next to you. Step by step. Moment by moment. When you face decisions, you do not have to guess alone. When you encounter fear, you do not have to hide it. When you feel uncertain, you do not have to pretend you are not. I am present in all of it. There will still be days when the path feels unclear. There will still be moments when you wish for immediate answers. Walking together does not mean everything becomes simple. It means you are no longer carrying the unknown by yourself. It means that when you stumble, there is steadiness beside you. When you pause, there is patience with you. When you doubt, there is reassurance near you. You may need time to trust this closeness. After walking alone for so long, companionship can feel unfamiliar, even uncomfortable. Allow yourself that time. I am not offended by your caution. I understand. Trust grows gradually, through consistency, through presence that does not disappear. And I am committed to staying. My beloved child, you do not have to prove that you can do this alone anymore. You have nothing left to demonstrate. You have already shown resilience, courage, and endurance. Now, you are being invited into something gentler and stronger at the same time. You are being invited to walk with me. As you move forward, remember this truth. You are not behind, you are not unsupported, and you are not alone. Every step you take from here on is shared. I am with you in the questions, in the quiet, in the courage it takes to keep going. You were never meant to walk alone, and from this moment forward, you do not have to. My beloved child, I need you to hear this slowly and clearly, because your heart has carried the opposite belief for far too long. I am not disappointed in you, not in who you are, not in what you struggled to become, not in the path your life has taken. Disappointment is a weight you have placed on yourself, a voice you learned from others, a fear that grew in silence. It was never mine. I have never looked at you with regret or frustration. I have always looked at you with understanding and love. You measure yourself by moments you wish you could change, by words you should not have said, by choices you would make differently if you could return to them. You replay those memories as evidence against yourself, convincing your heart that you failed, that you fell short, that you let me down. But you are seeing your life through the lens of pressure, not through the eyes of a father who knows the full story. I see what you were carrying. I see what you did not know yet. I see the limits you were working within. And I do not condemn you for being human. You were never expected to get everything right. You were never asked to move through life without mistakes, fear, or learning. Growth requires time, and time requires imperfection. The world may have taught you that love is withdrawn when expectations are not met, but my love does not function that way. I do not stand over you telling successes and failures. I walk with you, teaching, guiding, and staying present even when you stumble. There were seasons when you believed you should be further along by now, more confident, more healed, more certain. You compared your inner world to the outer appearance of others and felt behind. That comparison fed the fear that you were somehow disappointing me by not progressing faster. But hear me gently, your pace has never threatened me. I am not rushed. I am not impatient. I am not standing at some imaginary finish line waiting for you to arrive. I am walking with you exactly where you are. I know you carry regret. I know there are moments you wish you could undo. But regret does not define you, and it does not define how I see you. Those moments became teachers, not verdicts. They shaped your awareness, softened your heart, and deepened your empathy. You learned things you could not have learned any other way. And even when lessons were painful, they were not wasted. Nothing you have lived through has disqualified you from love or purpose. You may have felt disappointed in yourself. You may have believed that I shared that feeling. But my heart toward you has always been steady. I have watched you try, even when you were afraid. I have seen you get back up when it would have been easier to give up. I have seen your quiet perseverance, the courage it took just to keep going. Those things matter deeply to me. They speak louder than your perceived failures ever could. When I look at you, I do not see a list of mistakes. I see a child who has been learning, growing, and surviving in a complicated world. I see resilience that was built under pressure. I see kindness that remained even when life was unkind to you. I see a heart that still longs for truth and connection, despite disappointment. That is not failure. That is evidence of life within you. So release the belief that you have let me down. Release the fear that you are a disappointment. Those thoughts have burdened you long enough. I am not standing at a distance with crossed arms. I am close, with open hands. You do not need to earn my approval. You have always had it. My beloved child, you are not behind, and you are not a mistake. You are exactly where you are meant to be in this moment of becoming. I am proud of your endurance, patient with your growth, and unwavering in my love. Let the truth replace the voice that has been accusing you. I am not disappointed in you. I never have been. My beloved child, I still trust you with my work. I know that surprises you, because you have questioned your own reliability for a long time. You have wondered if your mistakes disqualified you, if your hesitations made you unsuitable, if your struggles proved that you could not be trusted with anything meaningful. But my trust has never been based on your flawlessness. It has always been rooted in who you are becoming, not in who you feared you were. You thought trust was something fragile, easily broken, something that once lost could never be regained. That belief came from a human experience, from relationships where mistakes were met with withdrawal, where failure led to exclusion. But my trust is not like that. I do not entrust my work only to the strong or the certain. I entrust it to the willing, to the humble, to those who have learned compassion through difficulty. And you, my child, carry those qualities more deeply than you realize. I know you have doubted yourself. You have replayed moments where you hesitated, where fear slowed you down, where you chose safety over courage. You told yourself those moments proved you were unreliable. But I see something different. I see a heart that was learning discernment. I see someone who cared deeply about doing what was right, even when unsure how. I see growth, not failure. You were not careless. You were cautious. And caution, when guided by love, is not a flaw. There were seasons when you stepped back because you felt unworthy. You believed you needed to fix yourself first, heal completely, become stronger before you could be trusted again. But healing is not a prerequisite for purpose. Purpose often becomes part of the healing. I never paused my trust in you while you were growing. I simply adjusted how it unfolded, allowing you to learn at a pace your heart could handle. When I say I trust you with my work, I am not speaking of tasks meant to overwhelm you. I am speaking of influence, of presence, of the quiet ways love moves through a life. You carry my work when you listen without judgment, when you choose kindness in difficult moments, when you show patience where frustration would be easier. You carry my work when you forgive, when you stay gentle, when you refuse to harden your heart. These things matter more than you know. You may not see your life as significant, but significance is not always loud. Much of my work happens quietly, through ordinary moments infused with care. A conversation that offers hope, a decision that chooses integrity, a moment where someone feels less alone because you were present. These are not small things. They are seeds that grow in ways you may never witness fully. And I trust you with them because your heart understands their value. I know you fear disappointing me again. That fear has kept you cautious, hesitant to step forward fully. But trust is not revoked because of imperfection. Trust grows through relationship, through learning, through staying engaged even when it feels uncomfortable. I am not waiting for you to prove yourself. I am inviting you to walk with me, allowing trust to be expressed naturally as we move together. You are not being sent ahead alone. I am not placing expectations on you without support. My trust includes my presence. I walk with you in every step, guiding, correcting gently when needed, encouraging you when you doubt. You are not expected to know everything. You are expected to stay open, to listen, to respond with love as best you can. That is enough. So let go of the belief that you are no longer trusted. Let go of the fear that your past has closed doors forever. I am still at work in you and through you. My trust has not been withdrawn. It has matured, shaped by your experiences, strengthened by your compassion. My beloved child, you are still entrusted. You are still chosen. You are still part of what love is doing in this world. Walk forward with the truth resting in your heart. I am with you, and I still trust you deeply. My beloved child, I want to lift a burden from your heart that has been quietly weighing you down. You have believed that you must be perfect before you say yes. Perfectly healed, perfectly confident, perfectly certain. You thought that readiness meant flawlessness, that obedience required complete understanding, that willingness demanded the absence of fear. And because perfection felt impossible, you hesitated. You delayed. You waited for a version of yourself that never seemed to arrive. But listen to me now with gentleness. I have never been waiting for your perfection. I have been waiting for your yes. Your yes does not need to be loud or dramatic. It does not need to be fearless or polished. It simply needs to be honest. A quiet yes whispered through uncertainty still reaches me. A trembling yes offered with doubt still matters. You do not have to know every step ahead to take the one in front of you. You do not have to feel brave to be willing. Willingness is enough. It opens the door for me to walk with you, to guide you as you go, not after you have everything figured out. You have spent so much time measuring yourself against ideals that were never meant to define you. You watched others move forward and assumed they were more ready, more qualified, more faithful. You told yourself that when you felt as confident as they appeared, then you would step forward too. But appearances can be misleading. Many who move ahead do so with fear hidden beneath confidence. What matters is not how certain you feel, but whether your heart is open to trust. Perfection creates distance. It keeps you focused on yourself, on what you lack, on what still needs fixing. But your yes creates connection. It shifts your attention from your limitations to my presence. It allows movement, growth, learning. When you say yes, even imperfectly, you invite me into the process. You allow love to meet you where you are, not where you think you should be. And that is where transformation truly begins. I have seen the moments when you wanted to respond but held back. Times when something stirred within you, urging you forward, yet fear whispered reasons to wait. Fear told you that you would fail, that you would disappoint, that you would confirm every doubt you carried about yourself. But fear does not get the final word. Love does. And love is patient with learning. Love is gentle with growth. Love is not threatened by imperfection. Your yes is not a contract binding you to immediate success. It is a posture of trust. It is you saying, I am willing to walk, even if I stumble. And when you stumble, I am there. I do not withdraw when you falter. I steady you. I teach you. I help you rise again. You are not disqualified by missteps. You are shaped by them. Each step you take in willingness builds clarity you could not gain by waiting. You may worry that your yes will demand more than you can give. That once you begin, you will be expected to maintain strength you do not have. But I do not ask you to supply what only I can provide. I ask you to be present, attentive, open. Strength grows as you walk, not before. Courage develops through movement, not through waiting. And clarity often comes after obedience, not before it. Remember this, my child. The path unfolds as you walk it. You do not need to carry the entire journey in your hands. You need only to place your hand in mine and take the next step. I am not disappointed by your imperfections. I am encouraged by your willingness. Heaven moves not through flawless people, but through hearts that say yes despite uncertainty. So release the pressure to be perfect. Release the belief that you must arrive fully formed before you begin. I am already with you. Your yes, offered right now, exactly as you are, is enough. My beloved child, your willingness opens doors that perfection never could. Take the step. I will meet you there. My beloved child, there are parts of you that you believed were gone forever. Dreams you carefully buried because they hurt too much to carry. Desires you silenced because life taught you they were unrealistic or unsafe. Passions you laid to rest after disappointment convinced you that hoping again would only reopen wounds. You did not bury these things because you stopped caring. You buried them because you were trying to survive. And I want you to hear this with tenderness. I have never forgotten anything you set aside in pain. I am awakening what you buried, not to overwhelm you, but to restore you. Those quiet stirrings you feel without explanation, the moments when your heart feels drawn towards something familiar yet distant, are not accidents. They are reminders. They are echoes of what I placed within you long ago. Nothing I planted in you has expired or lost its meaning. It has only been waiting for a season when you would be strong enough, gentle enough, and rooted enough to receive it again. You assumed that time erased those parts of you. You believed that too much had happened, that you were no longer capable of wanting things with the same openness or faith. You told yourself that growing older meant growing smaller in hope. But growth does not erase calling. Experience does not cancel purpose. It refines it. What is awakening now is not the same raw longing you once carried. It is tempered by wisdom, humility, and compassion. You are not returning to who you were. You are stepping into who you are becoming. As these buried parts begin to stir, you may feel conflicted. One part of you recognizes the feeling and quietly rejoices. Another part becomes cautious, fearful, resistant. You remember how it felt to hope before. You remember how vulnerable you were, how deeply disappointment cut. Then you wonder if it is safer to keep these places asleep. But listen to me gently. What remains asleep cannot heal. What stays buried cannot grow. Awakening is not the danger. Remaining closed is what slowly diminishes the soul. I am not asking you to chase every old dream exactly as it once appeared. Some of what rises will return transformed. Some will come back in new forms you could not have imagined before. Others were meant only to teach you, not to be carried forward. I will guide you through that discernment. I do not awaken your heart without intention. I do not stir old places without care. You are not being left alone to sort through what is resurfacing. As this awakening continues, you may notice emotions rising with it. Grief for time you feel was lost. Regret for chances you did not take. Anger toward circumstances that forced you to let go. Allow these feelings space. They are not signs of weakness. They are signs of healing. Suppressing them would only keep the awakening incomplete. I am with you in the remembering, even when it hurts. Especially when it hurts. You are not being tempted with false hope. I am not reopening wounds without offering healing. I am awakening these parts because you are not who you were then. You are stronger now, though not harder. Wiser now, though not closed. You have learned endurance. You have learned empathy. You have learned how to survive disappointment without losing your capacity to love. These lessons prepared you for what is coming back to life within you. Do not rush this awakening. Do not demand immediate clarity or action. Awakening often begins quietly, like light slowly entering a dark room. At first, you notice shapes and shadows before details become clear. Trust this process. Pay attention to what draws your heart gently, not urgently. What brings peace, not pressure. What feels aligned, not forced. I will speak through those quiet confirmations. My beloved child, what you buried was never meant to die. It was meant to wait. And now, you are entering a season where waiting is giving way to becoming. I am not calling you backward into old pain. I am calling you deeper into life. Stay open. Stay gentle with yourself as old hopes resurface. You do not need everything defined or decided right now. This is not about rushing forward. It is about allowing your heart to live again. Nothing good in you was wasted. Nothing meaningful was lost. I am awakening what you buried, not to reopen old wounds, but to lead you into new life. And I will walk with you through every step of this awakening, patiently and faithfully, until you see that what you thought was gone was only waiting for you to be ready. My beloved child, listen closely now, because you are standing at the edge of remembering who you truly are. Not the version shaped by fear, disappointment, or survival, but the one I saw when I first called your name. This moment carries a quiet power. It is not loud or dramatic, but it is deep. Something within you is responding, stirring, awakening to a truth that has never fully left you. Stay with me, because what you are about to remember will gently change how you see yourself and your story. For a long time, you have defined yourself by what happened to you, by what went wrong, by what you lost, by what you had to endure. You learned to introduce yourself to the world through caution, through restraint, through lowered expectations. You forgot that before any of that, you were known by me as whole, capable, and deeply loved. Life added layers to you, but it did not erase your core. And now, those layers are beginning to soften. You are remembering that you were created with intention, not accident. That your heart was designed to love, to feel, to connect, not merely to survive. You are remembering that your sensitivity is not a flaw, but a signal. That your longing is not weakness, but evidence of depth. That your questions are not rebellion, but hunger for truth. These things were always part of you. They were simply quieted by pain and time. Stay here with me, because this remembering does not happen all at once. It unfolds gently, like light returning after a long night. At first, you may only sense it as a feeling you cannot fully explain. A warmth, a clarity, a soft confidence that does not need to prove itself. Do not dismiss it. This is your spirit recognizing itself again. This is you beginning to see yourself through my eyes rather than through the lens of your wounds. I know you are tempted to doubt this moment, to tell yourself it will fade, to assume it is temporary comfort rather than lasting truth. But I tell you, this remembering is real. It is not based on emotion alone. It is rooted in who you have always been, even when you forgot. And if you stay with me through the rest of this journey, you will feel it settling more deeply, becoming steadier, more grounded, more yours. Do not turn away now. You are closer than you realize to reclaiming a sense of identity that fear tried to steal. Watch until the very end of this message, because the peace waiting there is not surface level. It is the kind that anchors you, that follows you beyond this moment into your everyday life. This is a divine appointment, not something meant to be half received or rushed through. If these words are resonating with your spirit, let them matter. You can honor what is happening by responding from this place of recognition. When you support this message, you help it reach other hearts that are standing on the same edge of remembering. Share it with someone who feels lost or disconnected from themselves. And if you want to continue receiving reminders of who you truly are, stay connected here. There will be more moments like this, more spaces where truth gently meets the heart. You are not becoming someone new. You are remembering someone ancient and beloved. Someone shaped by love, not fear. Someone resilient, not because life was easy, but because love sustained you. This remembering will not remove all challenges, but it will change how you face them. You will move forward with greater clarity, greater compassion for yourself, and greater trust in my presence with you. So breathe this in. Let it settle. Let yourself remember without rushing to define or control it. You do not need to act on everything immediately. Awareness is the beginning. Identity precedes direction. And right now, I am restoring your sense of who you are in me. My beloved child, stay with me. Keep listening. What you are remembering now is only the beginning of a deeper peace, a stronger confidence, and a renewed sense of belonging that will continue to unfold as we walk together. My beloved child, as you begin to remember who you truly are, know that others are still forgetting who I created them to be. When you give, you light a flame that burns through confusion, shame, and silence. I speak to you now as my word declares, you are the light of the world, and light must never be hidden. I am inviting you, answer me now. Your super thanks, your membership, or your PayPal seed becomes fire on the altar, carrying my voice to hearts standing at the edge of surrender. The PayPal link rests in the description, and the QR code stands ready. Move prophetically. Give now and let remembrance spread. My beloved child, you were chosen long before you felt ready, long before you understood what that choice meant. I did not wait for you to become confident, complete, or certain before placing my hand upon your life. I saw you in your becoming, not just in your arrival. Readiness has never been the condition for my calling. Love chooses first, and growth follows. You have often believed that being chosen required preparation you did not have. You thought you needed more knowledge, more courage, more stability, more proof that you would not fail again. And because you did not feel ready, you assumed the calling must not be for you, or that it had passed you by. But readiness is something the world demands. I call before readiness so that you may learn to rely on me rather than on your own sense of control. When I chose you, I saw your future and your fragility at the same time. I saw your strengths and your fears, your potential and your doubts. None of it surprised me. None of it disqualified you. You were not chosen because you were strong enough. You were chosen because love saw something precious in you that could not be replicated. What I place my love upon, I also commit to shape, guide, and sustain. You may feel behind now, as if others stepped into purpose sooner or more confidently. You compare your path and wonder why yours feels slower, quieter, more uncertain. But I do not measure time the way you do. I measure depth, and depth takes time. Some seeds grow quickly on the surface. Others take longer because their roots must go deeper to sustain what will eventually rise. Your journey has been forming roots. Being chosen does not mean you were spared from struggle. It means you were accompanied through it. Every season you thought delayed you was actually preparing you. Every moment you felt unready was shaping humility, compassion, and dependence. These are not lesser qualities. They are essential ones. I do not entrust what is meaningful to those who rush ahead without learning how to listen. You have feared that your hesitation made you miss your moment, that the calling moved on without you. But calling does not expire. It matures. It waits. It grows alongside you. What I have spoken over your life is not withdrawn because of fear or uncertainty. I remain faithful even when you doubt yourself. I am not standing on the other side of readiness, tapping my foot in impatience. I am walking with you through the process of becoming ready together. Understand this, my child. Being chosen is not about performance. It is about relationship. I did not choose you to use you. I chose you to walk with you. Purpose flows from closeness, not pressure. As you learn to trust my presence, direction becomes clearer. As you remain near, courage begins to rise naturally. You do not have to force it. You may still feel unqualified. That feeling may not disappear overnight. But qualification does not come from confidence alone. It comes from faithfulness in small steps, from listening when you are unsure, from choosing love when it would be easier to retreat, from continuing to walk even when the path feels unclear. These small acts shape readiness far more than waiting ever could. I chose you knowing you would question yourself. I chose you knowing you would need reassurance. I chose you knowing you would grow into the calling, not arrive fully formed. That is how love works. It does not demand instant maturity. It nurtures it patiently. So release the belief that you must feel ready before you respond. Readiness is not a feeling. It is a relationship built over time. You are not late. You are not disqualified. You are not catching up. You are exactly where growth is happening. My beloved child, you were chosen before you felt ready, and you are still chosen now. The truth does not waver with your emotions or your doubts. It rests on my faithfulness, not on your certainty. Walk forward with that assurance quietly settling in your heart. I am with you, and I will continue to shape you for what love has already prepared. My beloved child, I am calling you out of hiding, not with force, but with love that reassures rather than demands. Hiding once served a purpose. It protected you when you were wounded, uncertain, or overwhelmed. It gave you space to breathe when the world felt unsafe. I honored that season. I did not rush you or expose you before you were ready. But that season is not meant to last forever. What once kept you safe now keeps you small, and I am inviting you into something more spacious and alive. You learn to hide in subtle ways. not always by withdrawing completely, but by staying quiet when you had something to say, by holding back parts of yourself that felt too tender to share, by blending in so you would not be noticed, questioned, or hurt. You became careful, measured, restrained. And while that caution helped you survive, it also dimmed parts of you that longed to be seen. I see those parts. I have always seen them, and I am calling them forward gently. Coming out of hiding does not mean exposure without protection. It does not mean you must share everything or trust everyone. It means allowing yourself to be present again, to participate, to exist without constantly shrinking. It means letting your voice be heard when love invites it, letting your presence be felt where it brings light. You are not being asked to step into danger. You are being invited into safety with me. I know fear still whispers to you. It tells you that if you are seen, you will be misunderstood, that if you speak, you will be judged, that if you step forward, you will fail or be rejected. Those fears were shaped by real experiences. I do not dismiss them, but fear is not the final authority over your life. Love is, and love is calling you out, not to test you but to free you. You have spent enough time hiding parts of yourself to keep others comfortable, enough time minimizing your needs, your gifts, your questions, enough time waiting for permission to exist fully. You do not need permission anymore. You belong. You are wanted. You are safe to emerge. I am not calling you to become someone else. I am calling you to be who you already are, without apology. As you step out of hiding, you may feel vulnerable. That is natural. Vulnerability is not weakness. It is openness. And openness allows connection, healing, and growth. You do not have to take large steps. Even small movements matter. Speaking when you would normally stay silent. Showing kindness when you would normally withdraw. Allowing yourself to be seen by those who have earned your trust. These are sacred acts of courage. Remember, you are not stepping forward alone. I am with you. I go before you, preparing the ground. I walk beside you, steadying your steps. I remain behind you, guarding what you leave. You are surrounded by my presence as you emerge. Nothing about this invitation is rushed. I move at the pace of love, not pressure. If you pause, I wait. If you hesitate, I reassure. If you stumble, I steady you. Hiding convinced you that safety came from invisibility. But true safety comes from belonging. And you belong with me. You do not have to earn that place or prove your worth. It is already yours. The more you trust this belonging, the easier it will become to step forward without fear controlling you. There are people who need what you carry. Not a perfected version of you, but the real one. Your honesty, your empathy, your presence. When you hide, they remain unseen as well. When you emerge, connection becomes possible. Healing begins to ripple outward. This is not about spotlight or recognition. It is about availability, about allowing love to move through you freely. So take a breath. Feel the ground beneath you. You are not exposed. You are supported. The season of hiding has passed, and a season of gentle emergence has begun. You are not being pushed into the light. You are being welcomed into it. My beloved child, come out of hiding. Not because you are demanded, but because you are needed. Not because you are pressured, but because you are loved. I am here, and I will not let you walk this path alone. My beloved child, your voice will reach the wounded in ways you cannot yet measure. Not because it is loud, polished, or commanding, but because it is real. It carries the texture of lived experience, the resonance of empathy earned through pain, and the gentleness that comes from knowing what it feels like to be unseen. You have underestimated this about yourself. You thought your voice was too quiet, too unsure, too shaped by struggle to matter. But I tell you now, it is precisely because of what you have lived that your voice carries healing. You once believed that only those who had everything together were allowed to speak. The wisdom belonged to the confident, the certain, the unscarred. And so you waited. You listened more than you spoke. You held back your thoughts, your stories, your truths. You assumed that silence was humility. But there is a difference between humility and hiding. Humility offers what it has without demanding recognition. Hiding withholds out of fear. I am inviting you to move from one into the other. There are people whose pain mirrors what you once carried. They sit quietly, convinced no one understands. They have learned how to function while hurting, just as you did. When they hear your voice, when they sense your understanding, something in them will soften. Not because you have perfect answers, but because you speak from a place of truth. Your voice says, you are not alone, without needing to explain everything. That reassurance has power. You do not need to preach. You do not need to persuade. You do not need to fix anyone. Healing often begins simply by being heard, by being seen, by being met without judgment. You offer that naturally, even when you do not realize it. A shared moment, a kind word, a story told honestly. These things reach further than you imagine. They find places that advice and argument cannot touch. I know you fear saying the wrong thing. You fear reopening wounds, misrepresenting your own journey, or being misunderstood. That fear has kept you cautious. But love does not require perfection in expression. It requires sincerity. Speak from where you are, not from where you think you should be. Speak with gentleness, not certainty. Speak when invited, not when pressured. I will guide you in this. You are not speaking alone. Your voice does not only exist in words. It exists in how you show up, in the patience you offer, in the way you listen fully, in the way you choose kindness even when it costs you something. These are expressions of truth as well. Some of the most wounded people will never ask for help directly. They will notice how you treat them. They will feel your presence. And in that quiet exchange, healing begins. Do not measure the impact of your voice by immediate results. Some seeds take time to grow. Some words will return to you years later through changed lives you never saw unfold. That is not failure. That is faithfulness. I work beyond what you can track or control. Your role is not to manage outcomes. It is to remain available. There will be moments when you feel inadequate, when you think someone else could say it better, do it better, reach further. Release that comparison. No one else can offer what you offer in the way you offer it. Your story, your tone, your presence are uniquely yours. And there are hearts that will only respond to that combination. You were shaped intentionally, not accidentally. You may also need to learn when to rest your voice. Healing does not mean constant giving. There will be seasons when listening is your work. Seasons when silence restores you. That is not regression. It is wisdom. Your voice matters because it is cared for, not because it is constantly used. Stay attentive to my leading. I will show you when to speak and when to be still. My beloved child, your voice will reach the wounded because it has first been shaped by love. Not love that avoided pain, but love that stayed through it. As you continue to step forward, trust that what you offer is enough. You do not need to force yourself into spaces where you are not invited. The right moments will come. The right hearts will recognize your sincerity. Speak when love invites you. Be present when words are not needed. Either way, your life will continue to speak. And through the quiet faithfulness, healing will flow, often unnoticed by you, but never unnoticed by me. My beloved child, even your tears have purpose, though you were taught to hide them. You learned early that tears made others uncomfortable, that showing pain invited misunderstanding or dismissal. So you learned to cry quietly, or not at all. You told yourself that strength meant composure, that moving on quickly was the same as healing. But I have seen every tear you held back, every one you shed in silence, every one that fell when you thought no one noticed. None of them were wasted. Not one. Your tears were not signs of weakness. They were signs of truth. They were the language of a heart processing what words could not carry. Grief, disappointment, loss, relief, longing. Tears gave voice to emotions too deep to organize neatly. When you cried, you were not falling apart. You were releasing what had been held too tightly for too long. And I was there with you, closer than you realized, receiving every tear with tenderness. You may have wondered why pain lingered even after you tried to be strong, why certain memories still stirred emotion long after you thought you were over them. It is because grief does not move on a schedule. Healing is not linear. Tears come when the heart is ready, not when the mind decides it is time. I never rushed you through your sorrow. I never asked you to feel less. I allowed you to feel fully, because feeling is how healing begins. There were tears you felt ashamed of. Tears you told yourself you should not be crying anymore. Tears that made you question your progress. But I tell you this gently, those tears were not setbacks. They were layers being released. Healing often revisits the same places, not to reopen wounds, but to cleanse them more deeply. What surfaces again is not proof of failure. It is proof that your heart trusts enough now to let go. Your tears have softened you in ways you may not fully see yet. They have shaped the compassion within you. They have given you sensitivity to the pain of others. When someone else cries, you do not rush them. You sit with them. You understand the courage it takes to feel. That understanding was born from your own tears. And because of that, you are able to offer comfort that feels safe and real. You may have wished those painful seasons away. You may have asked why sorrow had to be part of your story at all. But sorrow did not come to destroy you. It came to deepen you. It taught you what mattered. It stripped away illusions. It made room for humility, for empathy, for a gentleness that could not have grown in ease alone. These qualities are not weaknesses. They are strengths shaped by love. I know you feared that tears meant you were stuck in the past. But tears do not chain you backward. They clear the path forward. They wash away residue that would otherwise harden into bitterness. Each time you allowed yourself to cry honestly, something loosened inside you. Something shifted. Something healed, even if you could not name it yet. His purpose at work. Even now, there may be tears you do not understand. Emotion that rises unexpectedly. Sadness that seems to come without warning. Do not judge yourself for it. Let it come. Let it move through you. Tears are not meant to be suppressed or analyzed to death. They are meant to flow and pass. I am with you in those moments, steady and present, never overwhelmed by your feelings. You do not need to apologize for your tears. You do not need to explain them away. I am not uncomfortable with your sorrow. I am not impatient with your healing. I hold space for every emotion you bring. When you cry, you are not burdening me. You are trusting me. And that trust matters. My beloved child, Your tears have watered the soil of your heart. They have prepared you to love more deeply, to understand more fully, to connect more honestly. One day, you will look back and see how even the moments you wished away shaped the compassion you now carry. You will recognize that your tears did not break you. They shaped you. So let them come when they need to. Let them fall without shame. I am here, receiving them, honoring them, and turning even sorrow into something that heals. Your tears matter, and so do you. My beloved child, I will walk with you step by step, not ahead of you where you cannot reach me, and not behind you where you might fear I have left. I walk beside you, matching your pace, attentive to every hesitation and every quiet surge of courage. You have worried that the future demands more clarity than you possess, more strength than you feel, more certainty than you can offer. But the future is not asking you to run. It is inviting you to walk, and I am here for every step. You often look too far ahead, trying to imagine how everything will unfold. You search for guarantees, for signs that the path will be smooth, that your efforts will not be wasted, that you will not be hurt again. And when you cannot see clearly, fear fills the gaps. But clarity is not always given all at once. Most of life is revealed gradually, in small moments of trust. I do not ask you to understand the entire journey. I ask you to stay present in the step before you. There will be days when walking feels easy, when confidence rises naturally and hope feels light. And there will be days when every step feels heavy, when doubt returns and progress seems invisible. I am with you in both. I do not withdraw when your faith feels small. I do not grow distant when your questions grow loud. My presence does not depend on your consistency. It rests on mine. You have feared making the wrong move, choosing the wrong direction, missing what matters most. That fear has kept you frozen at times, waiting for perfect assurance. But walking with me does not mean you will never misstep. It means that no step is taken alone. Even when you stumble, even when you choose imperfectly, I am there to steady you, to redirect gently, to teach without condemnation. There is grace woven into every part of this journey. I know you wish for clear markers, undeniable signs that confirm you are on the right path. Sometimes I provide them. Often, I provide something quieter, peace that settles when you choose love, discomfort that rises when something is misaligned, patience that grows when you wait rather than rush. Learn to trust these gentle guides. They are part of how I walk with you, communicating not through force, but through relationship. Step by step means you are allowed to move slowly. It means you do not have to keep pace with anyone else. Their timing is not your timing. Their calling is not your calling. Comparison will only distract you from the rhythm we are establishing together. Focus instead on staying attentive, on listening, on responding with honesty when I nudge your heart. That is how direction becomes clear. There will be moments when the path seems to disappear entirely, when uncertainty stretches longer than you hoped. Do not assume that means you are lost. Sometimes the path is hidden so that trust can grow. Sometimes the pause itself is part of the movement, preparing you for what comes next. I am not wasting your time. I am not withholding good from you. I am shaping you for what you will carry. Walking step by step also means rest is allowed. You do not have to push endlessly to prove commitment. There are times when stopping is obedience, when breathing deeply is progress, when choosing stillness protects what is forming within you. I will tell you when to move and when to rest. Stay attentive to my peace. It will guide you. You are not late. You are not behind. You are exactly where growth is happening. Each step you take with me builds trust, awareness, and resilience. You are learning not just where you are going, but how to walk with confidence that does not depend on certainty. That confidence comes from knowing you are not alone. So take the next step, even if it feels small, even if it feels ordinary. I am present in the ordinary. I am shaping the unseen foundations that will support what is to come. You do not need to hurry. You do not need to fear. I am with you, now and always. My beloved child, step by step, we will walk this path together. And as you do, you will begin to realize that the journey itself is part of the healing, part of the purpose, part of the love that has been carrying you all along. My beloved child, you are not too late, even though that fear has followed you quietly for a long time. You have looked back on moments you missed, choices you did not make, opportunities that seemed to pass you by, and you told yourself that time ran out. You believed that if you had acted sooner, believed faster, healed earlier, your life would look different now. That thought has weighed heavily on your heart. But listen to me gently and clearly. You have not missed your moment. Time has not disqualified you. You measure lateness by comparison, by watching others who seem further along, more established, more certain of their direction. You wonder why their paths appeared to open sooner while yours felt delayed, interrupted, or hidden. And in that comparison, you assume something was wrong with you. But your journey was never meant to mirror another's. What looks like delay from the outside was often preparation on the inside. You were not falling behind. You were being formed. There were seasons when moving forward would have cost you more than you realized. Times when you were not yet equipped to carry what you were asking for. I did not withhold progress to punish you. I protected you until your heart was ready. Readiness is not about age or timing by human standards. It is about depth, resilience, and the ability to hold purpose without losing yourself. Those things take time to grow. You have also believed that regret means finality. That because something did not happen when you hoped, it can never happen at all. But regret is not a closed door. It is often an invitation to learn, to choose differently moving forward, to walk with greater awareness. The past does not have the power to cancel the future. It can inform it, but it does not control it. You are not defined by what you did not do. You are shaped by what you are choosing now. I know you fear that energy has been spent, that youth has faded, that opportunity belongs to another stage of life. But purpose is not bound by a narrow window. Love does not operate on expiration dates. Some of the most meaningful work begins after long seasons of waiting, healing, and becoming. What matters is not how early you start, but how deeply you walk once you do. You may feel like you are starting over. And in some ways you are. But starting over does not mean starting from nothing. You carry wisdom now that you did not have before. You carry discernment shaped by experience. You carry compassion born from endurance. These things are not disadvantages. They are strengths that allow you to move forward with intention rather than impulse. Do not rush yourself to make up for lost time. Rushing only recreates the pressure that wounded you before. Move forward steadily, honestly, at a pace that honors who you are now. There is no prize for arriving exhausted. There is beauty in arriving whole. I am not measuring your progress against a clock. I am walking with you in real time, attentive to each step. When the voice of lateness returns, answer it with truth. You are here now. You are listening now. You are responding now. That is what matters. Life is not asking you to relive the past. It is inviting you to inhabit the present fully. Everything that matters begins here, not in what you wish you had done, but in what you are doing now with love and awareness. My beloved child, nothing that is meant for you will bypass you. What is aligned with love finds its way, even if the path looks different than you expected. You have not arrived too late for healing. You have not arrived too late for purpose. You have not arrived too late for connection, peace, or meaning. You have arrived exactly when you are ready to walk differently. Release the burden of being behind. Let go of the fear that time is against you. Time is not your enemy. It has been your teacher. And now, you are stepping forward with clarity that could not have come any sooner. You are not too late. You are on time for this moment. And this moment is where new life begins. My beloved child, this is why I needed you now. Not yesterday, not years ago, not in the season when you thought you were more ready, but now, after the waiting, after the breaking, after the quiet work that has been happening within you. You wondered why the call felt urgent, why something inside you stirred at this moment in your life. It is because the timing is aligned, not rushed, not delayed. You are standing at a place where healing, awareness, and willingness have met. This is the moment when what I have been forming in you is ready to be lived. I needed you now because you see differently than you once did. You listen more carefully. You move with more compassion. You no longer rush toward things just to prove your worth. You understand pain without glorifying it. You value presence over performance. These qualities did not come easily. They were shaped through endurance, reflection, and quiet surrender. And they matter deeply. The world does not need more noise. It needs hearts that know how to stay. You once thought being needed meant being strong in obvious ways. You imagined bold confidence, flawless faith, endless energy. But I need you now because you know how to be gentle without being passive, how to be strong without being hard, how to care without trying to control outcomes. You know what it means to walk slowly with someone who is hurting. You know how to sit with uncertainty without running away. That kind of presence cannot be taught quickly. It is learned through life. This is why I called you when I did. Not when everything was easy, but when you were honest. Not when you felt oppressive, but when you felt open. What I am doing now does not require you to be perfect. It requires you to be available. And you are. Even with your questions. Even with your remaining fears. You are here, listening, allowing, responding. That is what matters. Stay with me through the rest of this message, because understanding this moment fully will settle something deep within you. There is a peace waiting for you at the end of this journey, a clarity that will help you stop questioning whether you belong here. You not step away now. This is a divine appointment meant to be received completely, not partially. What you receive at the end will confirm why this moment matters. If these words are speaking to your heart, honor that connection. When you support this message, you help it reach others who are standing at the same threshold, wondering if they still matter, if they are still needed. Share this message with someone who feels uncertain about their place or timing. And if you desire to continue receiving guidance like this, remain connected. There are more moments ahead where truth and reassurance will meet you right where you are. I needed you now because your life speaks quietly but powerfully. Because you understand that healing is not about erasing the past, but about carrying it with wisdom. Because you are no longer chasing validation, but walking in awareness. Because you are ready to offer what you have, not what you pretend to have. That authenticity opens doors that performance never could. Do not dismiss this moment as just another message or passing feeling. Something hath been aligning within you over time, and now it is becoming visible. You are not being rushed into action. You are being invited into alignment. What comes next will unfold naturally as you stay close, attentive, and willing. You do not need to force outcomes. Simply remain present. My beloved child, this is why I needed you now. Not because the world is desperate, but because love is ready to move through you in ways that fit who you have become. You are not late. You are not early. You are right on time for this chapter. Stay until the end of this journey. Let it finish its work in you. What is settling now will bring peace, direction, and confidence that does not fade when circumstances change. I am with you, and I called you now because now is when you are ready to walk forward with me. My dear child, this is why I needed you now, because this moment requires obedience, not delay. When you give, you answer my call with action, and heaven responds to obedience with open doors. I say to you personally, those who sow generously will reap generously, for I am the Lord of the harvest. I am speaking to you. Respond now. Your super thanks, your membership, or your PayPal gift becomes a trumpet, sounding my voice into lives waiting for direction. The PayPal link is in the description and the QR code stands before you. Do not pass this moment. Act now and align with what I am doing. My beloved child, I am doing something new through you, even if it does not look dramatic or obvious yet. New does not always arrive with noise or sudden change. Often, it begins quietly, beneath the surface, where roots grow before anything is seen. You may feel subtle shifts in how you think, how you respond, how you see yourself and others. These shifts matter. They are signs that something is being renewed, not by force but by love working patiently within you. You once believed that new beginnings required erasing the old. That to move forward, you had to forget what came before, disconnect from your past, or become someone unrecognizable. But what I am doing in you is not built on denial. It is built on integration. I am weaving together who you were, what you endured, and who you are becoming. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is ignored. Everything is being redeemed and given new meaning. You may notice that your reactions are changing. Where anger once rose quickly, there is now pause. Where fear once controlled your choices, there is now curiosity. Where you once right to protect yourself, you now consider connection. These changes did not happen overnight. They are the result of inner work you did not always see or celebrate. But I see it. I see how you are becoming more grounded, more honest, more aligned with love. This new thing I am doing through you is not about perfection. It is about presence. You are learning how to be where you are without constantly wishing you were somewhere else. You are learning how to feel without being overwhelmed, how to hope without clinging, how to love without losing yourself. These are not small accomplishments. They are signs of maturity that allow new life to grow sustainably, not temporarily. You may be tempted to look for external confirmation that something new is happening. A change in circumstances, a sudden opportunity, a visible breakthrough. Those things may come in time, but do not overlook the quiet evidence already present. The way your heart no longer hardens as quickly. The way you listen more deeply. The way you extend grace to yourself where you once offered only criticism. These inner changes prepare you to carry outward change without being undone by it. I am doing something new through you because you are ready to steward it differently than before. You are less driven by urgency and more guided by wisdom. You are less focused on proving yourself and more committed to being true. You are learning to move at the pace of love rather than the pressure of expectation. This allows what is new to take root deeply instead of burning out quickly. There will still be uncertainty. New does not mean predictable. There will still be moments when you question yourself, when old fears attempt to resurface. That does not mean the new is failing. It means growth is happening alongside vulnerability. Do not interpret discomfort as a sign to stop. Often, it is a sign that something is expanding. Stay attentive, not alarmed. I am with you in this unfolding. You are not required to announce this new work or explain it to others. Some things are meant to be lived before they are spoken. Allow yourself to embody what is changing without rushing to label it. Trust that what is real will reveal itself in time, through consistency rather than spectacle. I am not in a hurry, and you do not need to be either. My beloved child, this new thing is not separate from you. It is emerging through your choices, your presence, your willingness to remain open. It will touch others not because you try to impress them, but because authenticity has a way of inviting truth. As you continue walking with me, you will begin to see how this renewal flows naturally into your relationships, your work, your daily life. Do not be afraid of what is new. It is not here to erase you. It is here to reveal you more fully. You are not starting from nothing. You are starting from wisdom earned through experience and grace received through love. That is strong ground. I am doing something new through you, and I will continue to guide it gently. You do not need to force growth. You need only to remain receptive. Stay close. Stay honest. Stay willing. What is unfolding now is aligned with who you are becoming, and it will continue to take shape as you walk forward with me, one faithful step at a time. My beloved child, you are ready, even if fear still whispers otherwise. Readiness does not mean the absence of fear. It means the presence of trust. You have waited for a moment when fear would disappear completely, believing that only then would you be prepared to move forward. But fear has never been the mayor of readiness. Love is. And love has been growing steadily within you, even in the presence of uncertainty. You have learned to associate fear with failure. When it appeared, you assumed it was a warning to stop, a sign that you were unqualified or unprepared. So you paused. You delayed. You questioned yourself again and again. But fear often appears not to block the path, but to reveal that you are stepping into something that matters. It rises at thresholds, not because you are incapable, but because you are moving beyond what is familiar. I know your fear intimately. I know where it comes from. It was shaped by moments when hope cost you something, by times when trust was met with disappointment, by experiences that taught you to be careful rather than open. Fear learned its role as protector. It tried to keep you safe by keeping you still. And for a time, that protection was necessary. But now, fear no longer gets to decide your future. Being ready does not mean you feel strong all the time. It means you are willing to move even when strength feels incomplete. It means you choose to trust my presence more than your anxiety. You are ready because you have learned how to pause and listen instead of reacting impulsively. You are ready because you can acknowledge fear without letting it lead. You are ready because you no longer confuse comfort with safety. There will be moments when fear resurfaces as you step forward. Do not be surprised by it. Do not interpret it as failure. Fear often grows loud when it senses it is losing control. Let it speak without obeying it. You do not need to argue with it or silence it forcefully. Simply choose differently. Choose love. Choose trust. Choose the next right step, even if your voice shakes as you take it. You are not being asked to leap blindly. You are being asked to walk attentively. Readiness looks like awareness, not recklessness. It looks like courage that checks in with wisdom. It looks like movement that honors both your limits and your calling. I am not pushing you faster than you can go. I am inviting you to go at a pace that stretches you without breaking you. Remember how far you have come. There was a time when fear controlled your decisions completely, when it decided what you would try and what you would avoid, when it convinced you that staying hidden was safer than being seen. You are not that person anymore. You have learned discernment. You have learned how to feel fear and still remain grounded. That is readiness taking shape. You may still wish for certainty before you move, but certainty often comes after obedience, not before it. Clarity grows as you walk, not as you wait. Each step taken in trust creates more ground beneath your feet. You do not need to see the entire path. You need only to take the step that love is inviting you into now. I am with you in this. I do not stand back and observe while you struggle forward alone. I walk with you, steady and attentive. When fear tries to overwhelm you, my presence will anchor you. When doubt grows loud, my voice will remain calm and near. You are not being tested. You are being accompanied. My beloved child, readiness is not something you must achieve. It is something you recognize. And right now, even with your questions, even with your lingering fears, you are ready enough to begin. Do not wait for fear to leave. It may not. Walk anyway. Each step taken in trust weakens fear's grip and strengthens your confidence. You are ready because love has shaped you. You are ready because you have learned to listen. You are ready because you are no longer running from yourself. Fear does not disqualify you. It simply reminds you that what you are stepping into matters. So take the step. Not perfectly, not fearlessly, but honestly. I am with you. And as you move forward, you will discover that readiness was never about feeling unafraid. It was always about choosing love, even while fear tried to hold you back. My beloved child, my presence will go before you. This is not a poetic promise meant only to comfort you in quiet moments. It is a reality that shapes every step you take from here forward. You are not walking into the unknown alone, hoping I will follow once you prove yourself brave enough. I am already there. I go ahead of you, preparing what you cannot see, softening what feels intimidating, and guarding what matters most to your heart. You have often felt like you were stepping into life blindly, making choices without knowing how they would turn out. That uncertainty made you cautious, hesitant to move unless you could predict the outcome. But I am not asking you to predict. I am asking you to trust. Trust that I see further than you do. Trust that I understand the terrain ahead. Trust that even when the path curves unexpectedly, my presence does not waver. There are places you are afraid to go emotionally, relationally, even spiritually. You fear reopening old wounds, repeating past mistakes, or encountering resistance you do not feel strong enough to face. But hear me gently, I do not send you where I have not already gone. Every step you take is one I have already considered with care. I am not careless with your life. I am attentive, intentional, and deeply invested in your well-being. When I go before you, it means I am arranging protection in ways you may never notice. Conversations that go differently than expected. Delays that prevent harm. Doors that open slowly so you are not overwhelmed. Strength that meets you exactly when you need it, not a moment too early or too late. These are not coincidences. They are expressions of my presence leading you forward. You may still encounter difficulty. Going before you does not mean removing every challenge. It means you will not face them unsupported. It means that when resistance arises, you will not be crushed by it. When fear surfaces, it will not have the final word. When uncertainty lingers, it will not leave you stranded. I am not promising ease. I am promising companionship and guidance that do not fail. There will be moments when you wish you could see me more clearly ahead of you, when you long for obvious signs that confirm you are on the right path. Sometimes I provide those signs. Often, I provide something quieter, peace that remains even when circumstances are unclear, resilience that surprises you, courage that rises just enough to take the next step. Learn to recognize these as evidence of my presence going before you. You do not need to rush to catch up with me. I am not far ahead, unreachable or distant. I go before you so that when you arrive, you are not stepping into chaos, but into ground that has been prepared. And I walk with you so that preparation never feels like abandonment. You are surrounded, not left behind. Remember, my presence going before you also means I know the timing of your steps. I know when to urge you forward and when to slow you down. I know when waiting protects you and when movement heals you. Stay attentive to that rhythm. Do not force progress out of fear. Do not delay obedience out of comfort. Listen, and trust that I am leading you wisely. You may worry about making mistakes, about choosing paths that require correction. But even there, my presence remains. If you wonder slightly, I redirect gently. If you pause too long, I encourage patiently. You are not navigating a fragile plan that will collapse if you misstep. You are walking in a relationship that adapts, restores, and continues. My beloved child, you are not walking into an empty future hoping I will appear. You are walking into a future where I already am. That truth changes everything. It means you do not need to be fearless. You need to be faithful. Faithful to listen. Faithful to respond. Faithful to take the next step when love invites you forward. So lift your head. Straighten your shoulders. Not in pride, but in trust. The way ahead is not hostile. It is held. I am already there, making room for you, guarding what matters, and preparing what you will need. My presence will go before you, and it will remain with you every step of the way. Walk forward with that assurance resting in your heart. You are not alone. You have never been, and you will not be, no matter where this path leads. My beloved child, you belong with me, even when your heart has struggled to believe that truth. Belonging is something you have searched for in many places. In relationships that promised safety but fell short. In roles that gave you purpose but demanded too much. In approval that felt good briefly but faded quickly. Each time belonging slipped through your fingers, you wondered if the problem was you. But listen to me now with gentleness. Your belonging was never meant to be earned. It was always meant to be received. You learned early to adapt in order to be accepted. To adjust your tone, your needs, your dreams so others would feel comfortable around you. You became skilled at reading rooms, sensing expectations, and shaping yourself accordingly. That skill helped you survive, but it also left you feeling unseen. You belonged everywhere and nowhere at the same time. And slowly, you began to believe that true belonging was something reserved for others, not for you. But I never asked you to change who you are to belong with me. I never required you to be quieter, stronger, simpler, or less sensitive. I never needed you to prove your worth or justify your place. From the beginning, you belonged because you are mine. Not because you performed well. Not because you understood everything. Not because you never struggled. You belong because love chose you. There were moments when you felt distant from me and assumed that distance meant separation. You thought that questioning, doubting, or pulling back had pushed you outside of my care. But belonging does not disappear when emotions fluctuate. It does not dissolve when faith feels fragile. A child does not stop belonging because they wonder or question. Belonging is rooted in relationship, not behavior. And our relationship has never been severed. You belong with me in your joy and in your confusion, in your confidence and in your fear, in seasons when you feel close and in seasons when you feel unsure. I do not require consistency to keep you close. I remain consistent even when you are not. That is the safety of belonging. You are not constantly at risk of losing your place. As you begin to accept this truth, something within you will soften. The need to prove yourself will lose its grip. The fear of rejection will quiet. You will begin to show up more honestly, not because you are certain of how others will respond, but because you are grounded in where you belong. That grounding changes how you walk through the world. It gives you freedom to be real rather than impressive. Belonging with me also means you are not competing for space. There is room for you exactly as you are. You do not need to rush to justify your existence or compare your path to another's. You are not late. You are not extra. You are not misplaced. You fit here. Your questions fit here. Your tenderness fits here. Your strength and your uncertainty fit here. You may still feel the pull to seek belonging elsewhere, to look for validation in familiar patterns. That is understandable. Habits formed over time do not disappear instantly. But each time you return to this truth, each time you remind your heart where it truly belongs, those old patterns will loosen their hold. You will begin to choose connection over approval, authenticity over acceptance. Belonging with me does not isolate you from others. It frees you to love them without fear of losing yourself. When you know where you belong, you no longer cling desperately or withdraw completely. You can engage openly, give generously, and set boundaries without guilt. You are anchored, and from that anchoring, healthy connection grows. My beloved child, you do not have to search anymore. You do not have to earn a place at the table. You are already home. This belonging is not fragile. It will not disappear when you struggle. It will not be revoked when you grow tired. It will not fade when you are honest about your doubts. It is steady, enduring, and secure. So let this truth settle deeply into your spirit. You belong with me, not conditionally, and not temporarily, fully and forever. And as you rest in that belonging, you will begin to live with a peace that does not depend on circumstances, because it flows from knowing exactly where you are meant to be. My beloved child, come closer now. Not because you have finally understood everything, not because you have arrived at some perfect place of peace, but because closeness itself is what your heart has been craving all along. You have walked through reflection, healing, remembering, and awakening, and now I invite you into intimacy that does not demand explanation. Closeness is not a reward at the end of effort. It is the foundation beneath every step you have taken. For a long time, you thought closeness required confidence. You believed you had to feel sure, whole, and unafraid before you could draw near. And when you did not feel those things, you kept your distance, assuming I would prefer you stronger than you were. But I have always desired your honesty more than your certainty. I have always welcomed your presence more than your polish. Closeness grows not from perfection, but from trust. Coming closer does not mean abandoning caution overnight. It does not mean you suddenly feel fearless or completely open. It means you choose to remain instead of retreat. You choose to stay present instead of distracting yourself. You choose to bring your real thoughts, your real emotions, your real questions. That choice matters. Each time you make it, intimacy deepens quietly, naturally, without pressure. I know you have learned to keep parts of yourself guarded. You had reasons. Not every space was safe. Not every voice was gentle. So you learned to protect what was tender. I honor that. But here, you are safe to soften. Here, you do not need armor. Here, you do not need to measure your words or hide your tears. I already know you fully, and I remain. As you come closer, you may notice how stillness begins to feel different. Not empty or lonely, but full. Full of awareness. Full of presence. Full of a peace that does not demand constant reassurance. This is not something you have to create. It emerges naturally when you stop pulling away. Intimacy grows when you allow yourself to be held without needing to explain why you need it. You do not have to maintain closeness through effort. You do not have to constantly feel something profound. Relationship is not sustained by intensity but by faithfulness. By returning again and again. By staying when it would be easier to drift. By choosing presence over avoidance. These small choices shape a closeness that endures beyond moments of emotion. There will be times when closeness feels quiet, almost ordinary. Do not mistake that for absence. Some of the deepest connections are not dramatic. They are steady. They breathe. They remain. You do not need constant signs or sensations to be near. You need only to stay open. I am not distant when things feel calm. I am near, resting with you. Coming closer also means allowing yourself to be seen by love without trying to manage the outcome. You are not here to impress me. You are not here to negotiate your worth. You are here because you are wanted, because you are cherished, because your presence matters. When you let that truth settle, the striving begins to fade. The need to prove gives way to the freedom to simply be. You may notice that as you draw closer to me, you begin to feel more at home within yourself, less divided, less at war with your own thoughts. Closeness has a way of integrating what felt scattered. It gently aligns your heart, your mind, and your body. This is not something you force. It happens as you remain. My beloved child, you do not have to rush away from this moment. You do not have to prepare yourself for what comes next. Just be here. Let this closeness remind you that you are not walking alone, not searching in the dark, not carrying life by yourself. You are held. You are known. You are loved. Come closer, not once, but again and again. Each return strengthens the bond. Each quiet moment builds trust. This closeness is not fragile. It will not break when you struggle. It will not disappear when you question. It will remain steady and faithful. Stay near. Breathe. Rest. What you are experiencing now is not an ending but a deepening. And as you remain close, you will discover that the love you have been seeking has been here all along, waiting patiently for you to draw near. My beloved child, I have found you, and I will never let you go. Not because you finally reached understanding, not because you completed this journey without struggle, but because you have always belonged to me. From the beginning, before your fears learned their names, before your heart carried wounds, before you questioned your worth, I knew you. I knew the paths you would walk, the moments you would doubt yourself, the seasons you would feel distant and unsure. And through every one of those moments, my love never loosened its hold on you. You may have believed that you were the one searching for me, calling out in quiet desperation, hoping to be heard. But it was always I who was reaching for you. In your silence, I was present. In your wandering, I stayed near. In your hiding, I waited patiently, never angry, never disappointed, never distracted. You were never lost to me, even when you felt lost within yourself. Every step you took, even the uncertain ones, unfolded within my care. Now you stand here, not at an ending but at a beginning shaped by gentleness rather than fear, by awareness rather than striving. You have learned that love does not rush you, that healing does not demand perfection, that belonging is not something you earn through effort or obedience, but something you receive because you are loved. These truths are not meant to remain only in this moment. They are meant to walk with you into your days ahead, settling into your choices, your relationships, your quiet thoughts. I want you to remember this above all else. You are held. Not lightly, not temporarily, not conditionally. You are held with a love that does not depend on your strength, your consistency, or your understanding. When you grow tired again, I will hold you. When doubts return, I will remain steady. When life surprises you, I will not withdraw. My grip on you is not fragile. It is firm, patient, and enduring. There will still be days when old voices try to speak again. Voices of fear, unworthiness, or shame. Days when you wonder if you will slip back into hiding, into self-doubt, into carrying everything alone. When those days come, do not be afraid of them. Remember this moment. Remember that love met you here not because you were flawless, but because you were willing to listen. You can always return to that listening. You can always come back to closeness. Nothing has been closed to you. You are not being sent forward alone now. You are not expected to carry everything you have heard and learned without support. I walk with you into what comes next, into ordinary days and unexpected challenges, into moments of courage and moments of rest. My presence is not limited to stillness or sacred pauses. I am with you where life unfolds, in the simple and the complex alike. As you move forward, let love guide you more than fear. Let truth steady you more than uncertainty. Let gentleness shape you more than pressure. You do not need to hurry your growth or force clarity. Becoming is not a race. Healing is not fragile. Each honest step you take is enough. I will meet you in each one, just as I have always done. My beloved child, you are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. You are not on the edge of being abandoned. You are deeply known and deeply loved. Nothing in your past disqualifies you. Nothing in your future threatens our bond. You belong with me, and that belonging cannot be undone by failure, fear, or time. Let this truth settle into the places within you that once felt unsafe. Let it soften the parts of you that learned to brace for loss. I have found you, and I am not searching for someone else in your place. You are not replaceable. You are not secondary. You are my beloved, and you always have been. So walk forward now with a quieter heart and steadier steps. Not because life will suddenly be easy, but because you are no longer walking alone. I am with you when you rise. I am with you when you rest. I am with you in every breath, every question, every hope still forming within you. My beloved child, I have found you, and I will never let you go. Amen. My beloved child, as you rest in my promise that I will never let you go, understand that many are still reaching for me in the dark. When you give, you extend my hand to them through this message, and I bless obedience that flows from love. I declare over you now, whatever you give into my kingdom will return pressed down and overflowing, for my word does not return empty. I am commanding you, move now. Let your super thanks, your membership, or your PayPal offering become a covenant act that spreads my voice across the earth. The PayPal link is waiting in the description, and the QR code is before you. Release your seed now. Give, and let my word run swiftly.